Thank you for that regards. Okay, so great. We're going to get started. We're going to talk about the FinTech Virtual Lunch. We're glad to see everybody that is here this evening, well, this afternoon. Just going to talk with you about the FinTech Virtual Lunch briefly is that we produce and launch webinars twice a month in 2023 throughout the year. Next year, we're going to 4 times a month. And these are events that are hosted and sourced, again, by our partners and clients and those within the FinTech ecosystem. We're very happy today to be able to present NearSure. We're going to give NearSure an opportunity to talk about themselves and what they do and who they are. And the real focus in our discussion today is talking about 5 strategies for product management, effective product management. We're going to let the NearSure team kind of talk about what that's going to look like. But to give you an overview, after a brief introduction, we're going to turn this conversation over to NearSure, to Michelle and to Cesar. They're going to talk about their strategy, their company. I have a few questions after their presentation that I'm going to ask, and then we're going to turn it over to the audience to ask any questions that they may want to know about NearSure and about the effective use of product strategies that they're going to talk about. You can make effective use of the chat by sending your questions, and I'll make sure to include them in my discussion with the NearSure team as well. So to get started, let's go through a round of introductions. If you can introduce yourself and your role at NearSure, then later on talk a little bit about NearSure, and then we'll go through your presentation, and then we'll continue with our discussion. Michelle, would you like to get started?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if Jonathan, you can give us the access to present because we have everything in that presentation. So if you can give me the access, I will appreciate it. But in the meantime, I introduce myself. I'm Michel. I am from Bogota, Colombia. This is not a regular name. I know in Latin America we have different names, but I have some family in Europe, in Belgium. I have more than 13 years of experience in tech, and well, nowadays I am the head of product in NearSure, and I am managing this product management chapter all across the 18 countries where we have a presence with our people. Cesar.
Sure, thanks, Mitch. My name is Cesar Costa. I'm based out from Uruguay, South America. That's where the company was born 16 years ago. My role is senior manager, business strategy for the company. So we seek for any new strategic initiatives, acquiring new technologies, and also get in touch with potential partners for the company. That's normally what I get involved with. And I've been with the company for 4 years right now. And thank you for waiting for the opportunity to be here presenting our services and some tips for your organization and your connections over there, how to improve their digital products.
Great. Please let me know if you're seeing my screen.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead, Cesar.
I don't know. Yeah, sure. Very brief, very quick. The intention here today, of course, is to give you some tips, as I said, related to different product strategies that could be followed to grow your business and your products, digital products as well. At a high level, NearSure has been in business for 16 years, working through remote teams in Latin America. So basically, we do help companies of different sizes, meaning startups, SMBs, and even enterprise level companies to grow their business through digital products. Mainly, and that's us, through 4 core offerings, as Mitch has on screen right now, which we call digital revolution. Basically, you have an existing technology or existing digital product, you want to bring it to a new technical stack, or you want to rewrite your product. Think about, okay, so what can I do to improve my existing product? Or I have an idea that I believe is going to revolutionize the industry. I have no clue how to bring it to life. That's one of our services there. We put together different strategies and teams with different roles in order to achieve that goal. Also, we do product design and development, the typical product design where we start very early in the process. Some companies may need some help to understand the market, the competition, which users they should target, how to price their products and so forth. So we also have that side of the house that actually helps not only with designing and developing a very good product, but also understand if this is going to be product that's going to excel in the market. Then towards more dedicated technologies, we call customer relationship management solutions, typical Dynamics, meaning Microsoft Dynamics, Salesforce, Adobe Magento, Adobe EM technologies. And last but not least, and probably the core service that NearSure offers is team augmentation. Basically, you already have a team and you need an extra hand on certain technologies, so you need to scale it. I just heard that probably you want to land a new team in Latin America or closer to the US time zones. We can help with that, and we can serve a different set of technologies across different resources in Latin America. Those are the core for offerings. If there's anyone, I think we probably for the most technical people here in the call, this is like a snapshot of what technologies we do manage today. It's more than 160 technologies in total. We are strategic partners for Adobe, Microsoft, and Salesforce, as I said, but we work with mobile technologies for mobile apps, and also for web technologies in the front and back end, DevOps, machine learning, and also cloud. So that's a general view of what we do in terms of technologies. Very concise numbers here. Is more than 15 years in the market, almost 16 now. We work pretty much with US-based companies or US-based clients, meaning that our revenue, 90% of it comes from these companies. Our Net Promoter Score is pretty high. Thankfully, we trust quality aside of course, many other things, but we focus on quality, and that's how we have very long-lasting and very good relationships with our clients and build top-notch solutions for them. That's how we have a very interesting client retention rate, relationships that normally last for more than 3 to 5 years and even longer than that. We've been recognized as by Inc. 5000 as one of the fastest growing companies in Americas for the last couple of years. And this is like a timeline over there of how our company grew. I believe I have too much information for only a few seconds. In total, we are more than 550 people across 17 countries with delivery centers and offices, as you can see on the right of your screen over there. Montevideo, that's where the company was born, but also we expanded very quickly to Colombia, Argentina, Brazil, Dominican Republic, and of course the US. 50% of our leadership is female, and we have an employee retention rate that for our industry is pretty high. It's 90%, thanks to many different HR-related things that we are doing to improve the life of our employees within our organization. A couple things, and pretty much I believe then we can start with Mitch. Why, if you didn't do it in the past, what we think is important, what Latin America has to offer through team outsourcing. Aside to the very good quality engineers, designers, product managers, and so forth, we also are located in a time zone friendly because basically we go from Central Time to Eastern in most of our locations. For cultural affinity, we do align pretty well with our clients in the US. We do like to be very close to them, understanding their industries, but not only that, but also their vision, their mission. That's what we typically do, either visit them regularly or they fly to our offices, which they pretty much welcome at least once a year. We try to have a gathering among all our clients at our offices in Latin America. As I was saying, we do serve different clients, different industries, different company sizes, but I'm not going to deep dive on these business cases, but we serve companies like Bloomberg, where we have large teams starting more than 20 people. Due to NDA, I cannot mention this person's name, but America's *1 personal development coach, based in San Diego, now living in Miami, Florida for the last couple of years. He's been a client of us for many years, and through digital platforms, we increased his customer base by 3 times more engagement during the events he throws. We can deep dive on some of these business cases at the end of the call. And then I believe Mitch, if we move to the next slide, Fox Overnight is another startup in the food industry. I'll leave the idea today, and I'll leave what we're going to be targeting is some of the tips that Mitch has for you and some aspect that he would like to discuss with you.
Well, this was a quick introduction. So thank you, Cesar, for letting us know about NearSure and everything that we have been covering over these 15 plus years. So today, the focus is not the presentation of our company, and we wanted to grab a few minutes to just present what we have done, but also to talk about 5 strategies and plus bonus track that we want to show you about that continuous discovery that we hear every time that we go to a product event, and that everywhere where we speak about growth and where we speak about optimizing our product, well, these 5 strategies came up. As you know, continuous growth is something that is a pain in some cases for all our business. Doesn't matter if we work for enterprise companies, SMBs, or just startups. We all are trying to looking for these strategies, and the idea is that we can find and we also can combine those strategies in order to focus our efforts on how we can start doing things differently and how we can be disruptive in this market that every day is more and more competitive, is more and more full of new startups that in some cases, well, we feel that big or small companies are trying to grab a part of our market share. So that's kind of the way I want to be open to this part of the presentation. And then the idea is that we can just start talking about your problems. Probably if you have been implementing these strategies in the company, try to let us know, how do you feel? What was your experience? What kind of feedback do you have from these strategies? And well, at the end, the idea is to have like a chat among us. So the first one is about product-led growth. Probably you have been hearing this too much. Is kind of the new way of create a startup or a business to many software as a service companies, and trying to get into this new tendency, because at the end it's something that works. But we need to be very, very careful, because this product-led growth mindset is in some cases not that fit for all the industries, and also we need to identify how we can match our business with this new tendency. So the main focus of the product-led growth mindset is to put the product in the center of the service. What that means is that we work based on the product, and every area of the business needs to work as a main or a unity, and try to grab that product to sell, operate, make your analysis from the finance perspective, try people from the people or HR, in order to see that everyone wants to deliver the same service. Doesn't matter in which point of contact you are with the user. So at the end, this is something that we also, if we relate this with the concept of human-centric, is very human-centric, because if we all put our product in the center of the business, well, at the end, we all are going to deliver the same service. I don't know if you have been or if you have some examples, because I have too many of companies that sales deliver a service, is telling you a lot of new things that they can offer you. Well, you see this dream come true from the product perspective or from the service, and then once you buy the product or you just subscribe to that product, you go and start then talking with customer service, and people in customer service is saying, I don't know why sales told you this, I don't know what they are selling, I don't know why. And then you realize that the speech that they have at the beginning is very different from the support that you're going to receive. So this concept tries to put the product, and when the product marketing, sales are going to all be aligned in order to really serve the same service at the end. So something that you need to take into account, and is something that we all tell to our clients when we talk about product growth and those businesses that are interested in starting in this tendency, or if you have an idea, well, we need to, from the product strategy phase, we need to start thinking about how we're going to tackle and approach this product growth mindset, is that the decision to be free or freemium is very important for you, because it's going to impact all the business inside. No, for some companies, free is going to be it's going to work perfectly, but for others not. Freemium in some cases is really good, but if you don't have, as an example, good investment or some budget behind to support all those free accounts that you are having from the free plan, well, at the end it's going to be a nightmare for you. So what we normally do from this perspective is to analyze what's the goal that you want to achieve at the end, how you want to start speaking with your clients, how close you want to be, and how much adoption do you want to have. No, because at the end is, okay, I want to be very adoptive at the end, I want to adopt a lot of users. I don't care if they are in a free plan, because I have a high rate of conversion at the end. So I don't know, once a user start my free plan, I know that 3 months later he's going to start subscribing for my paid plan. But in other cases, we have seen a lot of products that they are really struggling to support those free plans, because they are, I don't know, given too much access to the platform. So users just keep being in the free plan for too long, and company at the end needs, with the paid plan members, support that big or huge users that at the end are not going to be converted. So they are now moving to the free trial, where you have 15 or 20 days to try your product. This is something that is very important, and we try to go very deeper in this analysis with our clients. Other thing is to understand in which state are you from your product and from your business strategy. No, are you a new business that is trying to acquire new clients, or you want to engage new clients, or how do you feel and how mature do you feel to start monetizing your product? So that's something that you need to understand. As you know, product growth changed the way we offer value first and then monetize to the client. So I can see how, if I am a user, I can see how everything works before I start paying. Because I don't know, same example, I have been in those cases where I pay and I expect more for the product, so I then just cancel my subscription. So that PLG is very important to analyze. One thing that is very important to notice here is that most of these kind of companies that transform or are getting started with this PLG motion are or have easy onboarding, no? And they try to find that or trying to deliver that aha moment for the user very, very fast. We see too many products nowadays that just only with connection with Google, Apple, and other accounts, I can just open my account, and in just 5 steps, I already on board, and I want to try just right away my product. Example like this, you can see in Jira, you can see it on Miro. Miro has I love Miro for that reason, because they have a very clear onboarding, very easy onboarding. The aha moment is just in 3 seconds, and then they know how to support you. Every time that they do a launch that is very important, they just connect you through the app, through the help desk that they have, through the email, and everything seems very, very easy to use. No? So these companies are value first. I show you, I give you the access, I open my app for the community, right? So as an example, I have my own profile in Middlewares, where I have been placing my free templates for the community, for everyone, so they can use it. And at the end is that so important for me as a user, because it's not only that I want to use the platform for my daily basis job, is that also I can give some value for the community. They take care of that. So nowadays we want to give value first, but also create a community among all our users in order to keep that engagement for them. Other thing that is very important, pricing model. I have been talking with too many entrepreneurs and companies that they feel so afraid to show what's the cost of the service or the product. And at the end, well, we need to be very transparent with our client. And I prefer to show my price, my price model, and that my competitors start copying me, that avoid or hide this pricing, because at the end, what the result that I'm going to get is that I'm going to start bringing too many people, spending too many time, too much money, and at the end, just a quarter of them are going to be converted. But at the beginning, I am showing all the prices. I'm showing what are the benefits that they're going to get from that pricing model. Well, I'm going to start kind of filtering all the users, and probably if I am a B2B company, I'm going to filter all those companies that are not willing to pay for my service, and probably I'm going to be more focused, and I'm going to spend more time on what really matters, that are those clients that are willing to pay for what I'm doing. I worked last 2 months with a client here in Colombia who has a really big problem, because sometimes when we are starting a company in the B2B business, you know, the time to convert is very long. So it is better if we don't customize a service, but what we do is to have a real clear plan where I can limit all the offer of the services, and then I just can start talking like with the same language to everybody in the B2B business. And of course, my costs inside of the company are going to be more balanced, and I'm going to know really like I'm going to be very focused on what's the cost of operation of each client, because I have the same business, the same offer for everyone. So this is really important to notice in this product growth. I will say that not all the companies are ready to transform. There is a lot of like issues behind or things that we need to take care, as organization, culture, you know, structure, the business itself, the industry itself. So once if you are like interested in getting into this new tendency, well, it's important to analyze very well and see what kind of things I can adopt and what others I need to like let it go. Okay, the second one is continuous discovery. So I love this concept because at the end it's something that we struggle every day, and it's how can I start on identifying what or the way I need to approach a problem. And this is really based on pattern of thinking. That's like something that we don't talk too much in our business, or we talk too much if we are a product people, we talk too much inside of our product team. But it's something that it really matters, because how we always said in product, we need to get in love in the problem and not the solution. So what this like framework or strategy works is identify pretty well the problem, then a problem transforming into a desired outcome, transform it into opportunities transforming into solution, and solution into experiments. So how this works? So normally we can have, as an example, because we had a client a couple of months ago that had a churn rate, a high churn rate issue that they need to tackle before to about financial conditions. So what we did was to understand what was the real problem and what part of the funnel of conversion we need to focus on. What we understand was that I can give you all the details, but what we understand was that in one part of the funnel conversion, we didn't get the information very clear. So the clients really didn't understand what's the value that they were offering at the end. So what we did was to transform that problem into a desired outcome. So we wanted to engage or adopt more clients. So we want to increase that result from, I will say, from 10 to 20%, right, of all the users that used to go into our funnel of conversion. And then once we understood the problem, what we did was to and once we defined that result that we want to achieve, we understood what kind of opportunities we could work on in order to really adopt more and engage more at the end, right? So we work with the design team, with the users, and of course with the stakeholders in order to understand what were the opportunities that we had. And opportunities came from different perspectives. Not every opportunity can be technological. We can make solutions and identify opportunities just by changing a process, changing the order, or by just giving the user different services. And that kind of solutions can be placed in order very, very fast and in a couple of days. So what we understood was that when we identified the opportunities, some opportunities had more probability of success than others. So what do you do is that you identify that opportunity that is easier to implement, and then just go straight and see if that works. If that works, what you do is to keep improving. If not, just continue to the next one. This is a really nice way of implementing and keep the continuous discovery, because at the end, if you are very focused and narrow in the way of defining solutions and experiments, in a couple of days and weeks, you can test different solutions. And we have experience doing that, and at the end, we can have a real good results with this kind of a strategy that we use. The other one is a digital maturity analysis. This is analysis that we love to work. This is analysis of 6 dimensions. A 6 dimensions that we took up analysis, and we had to an actual framework, and we had to that we thought it was very, very important to use. And what we do is to create an assessment. From the assessment, we kind of got information of what is your status from culture, organization, strategy, data, technology, and user experience. And from that point, what we do normally is to go straight with the pain that is impacting most your numbers at the end. And with that, we can start going straight with a plan and a suggestion of how you can start talking. So this is really important. We have an assessment, a free assessment that you can take. And from that point, you can start analyzing how you can start working and what kind of gaps do you have already.
Michelle, before you kind of continue, I just want to kind of take a pause to see if there's anyone from the audience that has a question to raise their hand, just to make sure that as we kind of move on and kind of build on this. So we're just going to look and see if anybody has any questions based on what you're talking about that they want to provide you.
Yeah, for sure.
Send that to the chat, even though we're going to have some question and answer later on. But as you build on this, I just want to kind of see if anybody has anything that they may want to share in a question before we kind of continue. We're just going to give that a couple of seconds. Okay, I don't think we have that. Okay, so please, let's continue. Just want to give people an opportunity to have anything that they want to provide any input to as you kind of build up this discussion.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, please continue.
Thank you. The next one is gamification. This is something that I have been falling in love in this last year, because it's something that I think apply for every business. When we talk about gamification, sometimes we think that is only apply for the gaming industry, but that's some misunderstanding that people have, because at the end it's a strategy that you cannot adapt to any business. So this gamification is very important, and is something that we think is a big opportunity for business, because at the end it's a way to engage users, engage businesses. And I think the main point here is the way and how you define what means gamification for you and what's the value that you want to offer to your users. It's not only about points, you know, it's not only about exchangeable coins, it's about how you can play and how you can let play your user and the business an important role to feel that they are in power and that they have the control of what they have as a service or as a product. So this is something that we are very committed with, because we think that it's a really or I will say a potential a strategy to start implementing, and that it's an option that we can work with you very, very close. And the last one is market research. Probably you all do this normally. I wanted to put this into the table because I have seen that sometimes when we work in companies that are focused on getting results, we forgot, and I've seen too much of this when with companies. I used to work for finance industries and finance companies, where we were too much focused on the product. We forget to see other industries landscape where we can bring some ideas and bring some other techniques, frameworks, or way of doing, way of playing the game with users that can take us that like jump into what the users are expecting, no? So what we do normally here is to define a framework. We have a lot of frameworks defined that will help to work very, very focused on your industry, on your market, and we want to go and understand how your business can be fit with the expectation of the users and what opportunities you can have to start working or showing the clients your really value. No, it's something very, very important. I don't know if in this point do you have any question, comments, because I know that I haven't been going deeper into many information. The idea is that we're going to open the microphones to you in order to hear you, to see what do you think, if you have been applying these methodologies in your business or as a consultant, no? Because a consultant, because I've heard that some of you work from that perspective, from that role. Okay, don't worry, we're almost finished, and I have a bonus track for you because this is a 6 strategy for continuous growth. This is something that I don't know if you have been talking about category design. Probably if you do, but I think it's something that most of the business are not working on. And category design is a way to think differently inside of your market. These category designs, what try to explain to you is that when you are going to do innovation inside of your company or in your market, or you want to go in a new in the market to start competing, you are doing the things in the wrong way. Why? Because you need to think differently in the way that it doesn't matter if you don't need to create a new market. What you need to do is to create a new category in the market where you already are and where you already know pretty well. So the thing here is that you need to align your product, your company, and the category that you want to start creating. This is very, very, very important and very interesting, because at the end is that if you have your point of view very clear where you want to go, don't start with a forecast, but think more where you want to go, where you want to be, and then go back and see where you are to see what is the gap that you have. You can start defining that new category that you want to start working on. Here in this point is very important to change the language. We have a clear example of how a market that all probably we know pretty well, that is the coffee shop. You know, I'm going to tell you that's probably the same example that too many speakers put into the table that is a Starbucks, but they have been doing the things really well. There are coffee shops as the same of all the coffee shops that we have just a corner from our house. But what they did differently was to create a new category of service and create a new language. So if you have seen, or if you are a Starbucks user, you go with the same language of a Starbucks to other coffee shop that probably in that moment you have closer, and go and ask for the same latte or the same coffee with the same language that Starbucks has it. And probably in that coffee shop they don't have the same language, but they had to adapt, because if they don't adapt for that new language, probably they are going to be in trouble, because they are going to lose a lot of new users, or currently users, or sporadically users, right? So this is something really cool that we are starting working on, that we have some ideas of how you can start implementing. So I invite you to all of you to start speaking with us. We have these services as a consultant, services that we can offer, but also if you want to go deeper into this, well, the microphones are open, and the idea is that we all talk about what have been your experiences doing this implementation and strategies.
Thank you very much. This has been a very, very in-depth overview. So if you have stopped presenting, then let's go back to the screen. Let's put people back on so we can at least get some interaction. So thank you. So primarily, for those that heard this presentation and you went in depth, let's see if there's any questions. And then if not, I have some additional questions that I could ask. Anybody have any questions? I mean, obviously from the whole product life cycle, kind of talked with regards to your approach, how you address this, how you kind of look at the industry, how you look at projects in general. Just want to see if there's any feedback from those that attended, the attendees, if they have any thoughts that are on their mind, if they needed anything kind of clarified.
Hi, Wayne. Hi, how are you?
Yes.
I have a question because I didn't understand pretty well when they started talking about the category design. So if they can clarify that part, it will be very helpful.
Yeah, for sure, Victor. So category design, it's another tendency that is taking place really strong in the market. The point of category design is to focus the company not in the actual market where you need to where you need and want to compete with too many competitors by just differentiate yourself with features or probably the service. But what they're trying to do with category design is that you create your own category, that you be different from the others, and you kind of impact and place your business from a high level by telling the people that you have something better because you're using a new language. You know, you are that process, of course, is going to take time while people are getting that new language. But if you do the effort, if you create your go-to-market strategies right, probably something that is going to be very differentiated and disruptive from the actual business. I'm going to bring an example of what they say that is wrong. From the product perspective, you've seen a lot of platforms that offer you the manage of a roadmap, right? And when you start seeing all those platforms, you don't see too much different. All the platforms starting with Jira and going to, I don't know, ClickUp, product board, they do kind of the same thing. They manage a roadmap in a timeline or in a cards, or they do, of course, based on agile methodologies that you can move and in a Kanban board. But everything is really the same. And when you see the way they launch and they go to market, is by trying to compare their product with the other one, because you have a better experience or probably a better more features than the other one. What category design is saying is that don't go and try to fight for a 12% or even less market share. Go and find something new. So if you want to go and work from a product perspective, you want to go into that world, create something new. So what about we stop using the word roadmap and we start using a new word that could be your life steps. I'm going to say whatever word, and I start putting that life steps in, or your product steps or your product life steps in place, and everybody start getting into the mind that same word, and then people forget the word roadmap and they start following with this new tendency and this new language, and you use AI for everything. You just tap something and they generate all the user stories or whatever requirement you want to have. So the idea here is that based on your business, you can think how differently you can start thinking, and of course putting your stop comparing yourself with others by just saying that you are number one because you have something new and different than the others. It's like ChatGPT. They create their own category design. AI have been in the tech business for, I don't know, a couple of years, but nobody did what they have done since they launched. And now they are creating a marketplace or something what EOS did and Android did, that everybody can start creating apps under the same structure and platform that they have. They're going to be open. They're opening a new market over there. So they did a new category in AI because they changed the way use words and the way they create businesses inside of this ecosystem.
Good. Thank you, Michelle. We have another question from Gus. So Gus has a question for you. Thank you very much. That's a good answer for that.
First of all, Michael, CESAR, a great presentation.
Thank you.
As we're going through the presentation, it's just resonated. I mean, I come from the financial industry. I've known Wayne. We've been in contact. And a couple of years back, I jumped into a fintech, and that's only opened up gateways. Now I'm working on 2 or 3 additional projects, and everything that you have gone through, we've dabbled in most of those. The one question, just following up on what Victor said about category design, just to be clear, I tend to interpret that as you have something you want to differentiate yourself. You're not going to limit yourself, because then what's the use? But then the scenario where I'm at is it that you're really finding a market niche to grow and potentially have a greater opportunity, or you are surpassing that and you want something more. And for example, people go out there and they put a debit product. Debit products don't make money. They are a commodity. You will lose money, then it's open to fraud. However, if my product, and I have an ecosystem and I'm offering different silos, and I want an ecosystem and a debit product is of value, I am going to partner with someone. Most likely, I'm not going to do the development. The cost factors are too high. But I'm going to factor the opportunity growth, because it's a value offer that it may be linked to my products. I'll give you an example. I put a product that you generate money, or I talk to a corporation that I'm selling my product, and then they provide the benefits to the employees. And then you may give the employee, hey, have direct deposit into the account. So you create a small little ecosystem. Obviously, there's compliance issues and everything behind that. So in that category definition, are we looking for an opportunity of expanding if you have an ecosystem, or it's just an added value that you're putting out there to just make your product more visible for others in the long run?
It's a great question. I worked for 2 big companies in the financial industry here in Colombia. I am totally understand, because I work for a bank and we had the same issue. So category design, if we take in like these financial, I won't say problems, but issues that we have, I will say that category design can help you in two ways from my point of view. The first one is to, if you want with the debit cards, create a differentiated product against of what is what you have in the market. It's the perfect strategy because it's going to help you to, with that new category, attract more people. And at the end, when you attract more people, you're going to be able to start expanding your services through credit cards or loans or whatever other service do you wanna have. On the other side, if you have already a business and you have a really good market share in the fintech industry, or you have a good number of users with you and you want to expand with a specific product, you can do it, but probably at the end you are going to start like battling between this new category that you want to start with your credit card inside of the actual ecosystem versus your actual structure that are the same. Probably, I don't know if it's the same, but with the actual rules of that the products have. No, I don't know if that makes sense, but let me explain it better. If I create something new, it's going to be easy because I'm going to kind of create the rules of that market. If I have an actual market and I want to take one part of what I have and create a new category, that new category probably start growing, and you have two options: or take that category and kind of compete with the structure that you have already, or that new structure you change it, and like at the end that new category start absorbing the old one, because have the two at the same time is going to be very, very hard for your organization. And of course for the users, because the users are going to say, okay, you are talking to me in this new language, but in the other product you're talking to me in the same words that the rest of the companies does. So what are gonna be like at the end, the way you want to like compete and be the king of the category? You want to be the king, the one who owns the 7% of the market share, or you want to have a split in one part you are the king and the other one you are just a queen, let's say. You know, it's kind of the issue that you can start struggling. But of course we need to go deeper into that, so to give you a better example and a solution. But I don't know if it makes sense to you.
No, it makes sense. And then as you were saying the last piece, and I started to think it's a market, it's a product, and at the end you end up going back to the client fit, because it all has to evolve. So you're going to keep extrapolating throughout the whole process. So the end product feature is never going to be standard, because you're defining, you're changing your ways, you're continuing looking how the industry is changing, how the market is changing, the new tools and technology. So it's a never-ending story. But if you stay one step ahead, depending on the product or what you're putting in the marketplace, and you align it to your customer needs, it'll work. It's an uphill battle, but good in the long run. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I don't know if you have seen examples of big banks here in Latin America. We have big banks that start a spin-off, and then they start seeing the difference between the communication, the language, the way they were operating products, and they just decide to separate that spin-off and create a new company, even though that at the end is like the owner is the big bank, but they need to like divide those divisions, and now they are two different companies, because this one needs to grow like based on that new language, that new market. And well, at the end, in some point, probably if they do the things right, could be as bigger as the bank.
Yeah, I mean, from that perspective, the phrase that comes to mind is one I used to use many years ago. Let the bank do what it does best and outsource the rest. And when I say outsource the rest, especially with today's tools and technologies, you could create spin-offs. You can actually start working in a micro loan division, which is separate from the business. And in that perspective, it doesn't impact the bottom line of the bank, but you have it based on allocation, on budgets, specific projects that, you know, like it or not, if it's not working, you kill it. But likewise, you have the opportunity to grow. And then what you start doing is you start doing augmentation of product offering to your different client base. And it's a lot easier, especially if you're dealing with consumer banking, you know, institutional banking and other areas out there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Gus. Great question. I want to raise it because I know we're going down the pinnacle of the downtime, winding down a little bit, but does anybody have any other questions based on what they heard or just in general that you want to raise to the audience? Solid presentation. Really appreciate the input and all the hard work that went into kind of delivering that. And, you know, from an audience perspective, you know, obviously thinking, I know I had some additional questions that I wanted to ask, but I think you really covered it with that extensive presentation. Again, if anybody has any questions, that's good. We're gonna open this up though to the group itself to see an opportunity that obviously kind of connect and kind of meet. I know we had some introductions before. Some additional people have joined, and we thank you for joining. If you want to turn the camera on, we can have an opportunity. If you want to kind of introduce yourself, some of the things that you kind of, you know, just kind of your background. I think that's always good for the different ones in our group as we do this on a regular basis, kind of gets to know different ones. So I think, Julie, we heard from you. Tony, we heard from you. Augustina and Daria, would you like to introduce yourself? Carlos, we want to introduce you? Feel free. Yep, we see you.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Carlos Lenis. I am the financial controller at Early Technologies. We are a multinational earned wage access startup based here out of Brickell, the Latitude building. I think I stumbled upon this opportunity through LinkedIn. I think it was through Jonathan. Yeah, just giving my 2 cents really. I joined during the end portion of the presentation. So I did hear a little bit about this product conversation. Super interesting. Just happy to participate.
No, thank you, Carlos. And also, we can make this kind of presentation available to you as well. So no problem at all.
Yeah, if we could drop it maybe in the chat, I could definitely go over it after.
Okay, excellent. And so some of the things that you kind of work on, obviously, that's good to know. I think that's good for the NearSure group to kind of know as well. And so of what you're actually kind of building out from a product standpoint. By the way, since you are in the Miami area, Gus is in Miami as well. Don't know what the two of you kind of know each other, but obviously some of the things that you work on. Gus has a long background of experience in financial services and banking. And now, Gus, can you introduce yourself? Kind of talk about some things that you obviously are working on today, which is an extension of your financial services background as well.
Yeah, basically, I'm the likes of I started with Nations Bank. Before that, Credit Union Services, Bank of America, and in the last 17 years, I was with Citibank. But 2 years ago, I jumped out to work with a company named Welcome Tech, or Saberes Poder. Their focus is on the immigrant population, providing them the opportunities to succeed by providing them benefit services and the opportunity to build their credit. So we've launched debit products, we've launched credit products out in the marketplace. In tandem to that, I have my own personal interest. I have my own other company that I do fintech consulting and advocacy.